everybody, welcome to the Comic Gamer Movie Show. My name is Deshaun, and today I'm finally reviewing Oppenheimer. Now, this movie I have been looking forward to for quite some time since it was announced Christopher Nolan was doing it. Now, Christopher Nolan is one of the greatest directors of all time, bar none. This is a man who gave us things like Memento. This is a man who gave us the Dark Knight movies, obviously. You know, this Christopher Nolan is an all-timer. He's had so many great hits, you know, so many great hits. Now, not every one of his movies is universally loved. For instance, the more I think about Tenet, the less I like that movie. I said it before when I gave my review of that movie. I was like, I've never walked out of a movie theater being like, why was this, like, feeling like this movie was being pretentious as fuck. Like the director was trying to rub it in my face. I'm so much smarter than you. I'm like, oh, yeah, why does this movie feel like it's fucking with me? And not in a good way. I describe Tenet as a director jerking off on a film, on a movie reel film, for damn near 3 hours, and then being like, ta-da, look how wonderful I am. That's what Tenet felt like, and I really didn't like it. Really end up enjoying Tenet. In the end, while there are things about that movie I can't admire, particularly the acting and stuff, I really didn't enjoy it. So, my last Christopher Nolan experience was a little sour, to be understandable. But Oppenheimer was a great idea. First of all, Oppenheimer is the man who, Robert Oppenheimer, created the atomic bomb. Pretty much the godfather of the nuclear bombs that we have today. It all started with him in World War II. And, you know, like, going into this movie, it's a biopic. You know, it's not like a total biopic of like an entire life, but it is a biopic about Oppenheimer. Now, they don't go into his fucking childhood and all that other bullshit. They focus on what matters. It's really centered around the creation of the atomic bomb and the aftermath of it. You know, little details about him in his early life, but mostly it's just around that. Not 95% of it is about that. And the thing about this movie is going into it, I knew a few things about Oppenheimer. One, he created the atomic bomb. Two, he had great remorse and regret after creating the atomic bomb, about the atomic bomb, and he had fears of where bombs could go and how much damage they could do. You know, he's really self-conscious about creating it. Also knew that he knew Einstein, and that he was a genius, and that he was a true genius and one of the most smartest men who ever lived. Also, I knew that America thought he might have been a communist spy or a Russian spy or something, and I knew he got like convicted or something of being a communist spy and all this other shit. So I knew a few things about the guy, but I didn't know the details. I didn't know, you know, all the specifics about how they created the atomic bomb and whatnot. So this movie was, I'm telling you that because I can't tell how accurate the movie is. I was supposed to see it with Seth. Seth's on some bullshit, so I had to see it by myself. So I don't know how accurate the movie is. Maybe if I saw it with Seth, or I gotta ask Seth about this later, or somebody who's who has more historical knowledge than me, maybe they can tell me the shit that was wrong. But as far as I had to just go with the movie and what it was telling me. And starting off with this film, first of all, let's get the obvious out of the way. The directing is fantastic. The cinematography is fantastic. The score is haunting at times. And the movie does an amazing job at having no sound at moments to really illustrate the intensity of the situation or a character feeling something. It really does a great job of getting in the mind of Oppenheimer and the pressure that he was feeling, not only in the process of making the bomb, but even the aftermath of making the bomb. And it does a great job both thematically and from a visual standpoint and from a score standpoint, of really getting over how mentally taxing not only the creation of this bomb was, but the effects it had on his mind, on his mood, on his soul. So they really did a great job of doing that with all that. Acting is phenomenal. And this is an amazingly stacked cast. One of the most stacked casts I've ever seen. Now, you see up top, you see Cillian Murphy as obviously playing Oppenheimer. You see Emily Blunt in there. You see Florence Pugh. You see Robert Downey Jr. You see Matt Damon. But then it's like, there's a whole bunch of motherfuckers in this movie where you're just like, damn, I know that guy. That guy's great. That guy's great. That actor's great. That actor's great. I'm like, dude, and just keep rolling these great actors out, dude. I mean, goddamn, like out of nowhere, Gary Oldman shows up. You're like, Gary Oldman's in this movie too? How many fucking people are in this movie? Like, they just keep cranking out great actors. I'm like, dude, everyone just like, oh, dude. And the thing is, they have great actors who don't do anything. Like, that's how stacked this movie is. They just got great actors who just show up for like 5 minutes and go away. I'm like, damn, this cast is ridiculously stacked. So, go figure, the acting is phenomenal. Also, Robert Downey Jr. is probably like, Robert Downey Jr. is probably doing it's the best performance he's given since Endgame. It's the best performance he's given outside of a Marvel movie in damn near 20 years. Like, it may be, now, arguably, I still hold Iron Man, but it may be arguably his greatest performance. He killed it in this movie. Robert Downey Jr. was so fucking good. Emily Blunt also was great. Emily Blunt, I think the standouts outside of the main protagonist, obviously he gets all the screen time, but the standouts to me are Robert Downey Jr. and Emily Blunt. They were dynamite in this movie. They really were. They were acting their asses off. You really felt something for them. Negative, positive, whatever. You felt something for them. So the acting was phenomenal. Score phenomenal, like I said. I only had 2.5 negatives about the movie, and even both of those were like, I mean, I didn't like it, but whatever. Now, also, there are 4 things that I think this movie did teach me or show me, and I like that they went about this, or not, maybe not 4, but a few things. Number 1 is that Oppenheimer didn't just create this whole thing. Like, that if you were to just like Google it or look it up, like you might get the impression that he just created this entire atomic bomb thing himself. He came up with the entire concept, top to bottom. He was the brain. No, he was the point man on a project. He wasn't even they make it clear. Not only was he not the first person to think of splitting the atoms and doing all this the idea of an atomic bomb. They weren't even America and him weren't even the first people to try to make a bomb. It was already being made. Oppenheimer was just the guy who got it made first. But other scientists had already theorized about it, and he had already looked at other scientists' theories and stuff. So he was just the guy who got it finished the fastest. But he didn't, it's not like, and he needed help. He had people helping him who was bouncing ideas off of, who were coming up concepts. And like, it was a team effort to make that atomic bomb. It wasn't just Oppenheimer. And they do a really good job of getting over like, no, this wasn't just Oppenheimer. Like, it was a legit team effort. It took work to get this shit made. And I think that was a really good choice by them, because, like I said, they could have easily had made it seem like Oppenheimer was just the guy who came up with it all. But really, in reality, he was like, the way they played it in the movie, more or less, he was just the centerpiece, the motivator, the figurehead, the person they bounced ideas off of. Like, really, you know what I mean? He was the leader, but without the rest of the team, he wouldn't have got this done. And like I say, I think they did a great job getting that across. Also, great job. Also, oh no, this is the thing I was very shocked about. I didn't know nothing about this. I did not know Oppenheimer was laying down dick like that. I did not know that. I thought he was just like married and had like some kids, and he was like a scientist. I didn't know this homie was having an affair with like multiple women, and like, I mean, he was having an affair with the married woman who got pregnant, then left her husband to marry. I'm like, yo, this dude is out here multiple times through the course of the movie. They're like, yeah, dude, like, you're a known philanderer, dude. It's like, damn, he's a known philanderer? Like, I didn't know that. I didn't know Oppenheimer was just going around giving it out, you know? Because the movie starts off, and he's like with Florence Pugh. And they have their flirtatious moment. You know what's leading to. They do this so often in movies. I knew it was coming. Like, they do that thing where, like, main character will meet another, a beautiful female character, and they'll start talking, and they'll be, like, flirting. They'll be flirting, but it's like not overt. They're doing everything but saying, hey, let's go fuck. But they're flirting, but it's like all these other topics. And then it smash cuts to them fucking. It's exactly what they did here. He was talking to Florence Pugh's character at the beginning of the movie. They smash cut to her fucking. Now granted, she was on some crazy shit where she was like She calls him when she needs him, when she wants to screw and wants to have some affection, but she won't commit to him, which is why he goes off and looks for other things. But yeah, and then he meets Emily Blunt's character. He just straight up, man, he just straight up steals some dude's wife. I'm like, damn. And the whole time he was married to her, he was cheating on her with like multiple women. But like I say, different time. There was a different time, and marriage was just, it was handled differently. You know, because back old school women, old school men and women, they didn't get divorced. They went through that shit. They just put their head down and went through it. You know, they didn't get divorced. There's a lot of guilt tripping going on, but you know, they didn't. Only when you see two people get divorced back in that time, it had to be real bad. It had to be like, okay, he's beating the shit. Now, even that, maybe not. It had to be like, okay, everyone's like judging him and being like, okay, you're a piece of shit. You know, it had to be real bad for them to get a divorce. So, but she stuck by him though. Emily Blunt, her character, she stuck by him through thick and thin. Through thick and fucking thin. But the whole not trial thing about him being a communist or not was very fascinating. And in the end, what you end up with is a beautiful movie. Beautifully directed, amazingly acted, looks stunning. The handling of the nuclear explosion was very well done and very heart-pounding. I'm telling you, when the lead up to that bomb, them testing the nuke happens, it's dope. It's a lead up to it. And you're like, ooh. You already know what happens. You know, like you know what happens when the bomb goes off, but even still, they really do a good job of ramping it up. Only problem we have is, it's a very long movie, and you feel that shit. And like, it goes by, for a 3-hour movie, it does move, but you still feel that shit. And also, I didn't know how I feel about the editing. It really bothered me. I wasn't a huge fan of how they were cutting around, because it took me a while to get in the groove. Like, once I got into the groove of how they were cutting it, I could move with it. But in the beginning, they were just cutting around. It's like, shit was just happening. There was no setup for anything. Things were just happening. And you're just like, I think I know what's happening. You're like, things were just happening, especially in the beginning of the movie. The beginning of the movie is very confusing because, like I said, things are just happening, and you're just like, what the, okay, what the fuck's happening? So, but once you get past that, and once you get into the rhythm of how Nolan decided to, you know, go with this movie, once you get into that rhythm, you got it, you're good, and then it's fine. But otherwise, I'd give Oppenheimer a straight 9 out of 10. Straight 9 out of 10. One of the best movies this year. It could end up being the best movie of the year. It could end up winning the best picture. It could. But yeah, fantastic movie. I can't complain. I enjoyed every bit of it. I had a great time with it. It was like watching a Masters at work. You know, if Barbie was like watching some crazy shit that you've never seen before, this is like watching a master class. You know what I mean? Like, Barbie and this movie are really total opposites in terms of what you see. Like I say, Barbie's like, what the fuck is this? It's fascinating. This movie's like, it's a masterclass. Professionals going to work doing professional shit. I loved it. I loved it. Anyways, thank you guys for joining the Conquer Movie Show. Please remember to like and subscribe. I'll see you on the next one. Goodbye.